All right. So I'm going to start with the qualitative research example. Basically, when you look at this idea of doing qualitative research, it's very similar to what Jan will cover later on conjoint analysis. View this works better for enterprise customers where there may be accounts. You may have to visit them, you may have to call them, there may be a group that has to come, and the complexity may be much higher. But the idea is the same, that first you want to bring out, like, force the customer to make choices, and based on the choices that they make, so you have a hypothesis, and then you run the hypothesis by the customer, you get their feedback, that helps you build empathy with the customer, and then you have them force rank choices around benefits that they're getting, value proposition, features. It's a way to do conjoint analysis to figure out what of your offering to them do they think is a differentiator. You have a hypothesis, but do they agree with you? What do they think is the right pricing metric for them? So what I was showing you earlier for pricing metrics, right? We had done similar analysis with our customers, and we found out that they couldn't really do the math for what we thought the right answer would be. So that help us figure out, are we making the right decision, or do we need to go and change our hypothesis? If it is in the sort of enterprise environment, from 5 to 15 calls, depending on how big your enterprise business unit is or group is, like if it's roughly like 200 to 300 customers, by 10 plus interviews, you will have a good idea of what you're hearing. And then after you've done all the interviews, you would synthesize the information, and you would report on the conclusion. So here I've provided a sample template. We can flip through a few slides. I'm not going to cover it in detail, but I'm going to explain. So Jan, if you could click on that sample template. No, above. No, go back.
Sorry.
Go back. There, where it says sample template. No.
Oh, you wouldn't?
Yeah, just click on that.
Oh, okay.
So you can copy this if you want. But basically, if you flip through it, right, go to slide 4. Slide 4. So I'm trying to, I have hypothesis on what I think their pain points are. I'm trying to get them to force rank it. Now keep scrolling down. Keep going. So this is benefits, keep going. Features, right? So I'm showing them different plans and saying, you have $100 to pick to spend on the one that you really like. So if I am showing them this good, better, best, this is just one way to force rank. You may have different features you want them to force rank or distribute $100. So it's a way for you to assess where they're getting more value from by doing forced choice, forced option sort of responses. Keep going. So you may have different metrics. So the last one was an example of selecting different metric. This is just a binary decision. But when you aggregate this across customers and their reason for the selection, you will understand what the market prefers. Keep going. So here, what I've tried to do is a Van Westendorp, a poor man's Van Westendorp, where we are asking at what price is the product going to be so cheap? And by the way, Jan will cover what a Van Westendorp is. But basically, you ask two questions: at what point is it too cheap for you to think that it is going to be of value to you, and what price is it going to be so expensive that you don't think that it's going to be ROI enough? And the next slide is more like you can do the same approach on even the feature roadmap, right? We have these things. Most of the companies will have so many things on the roadmap that they will say, but to really suss out what exactly is if out of the 4 things that are coming, what are the really important things? This sort of approach will help come up to the answer. So you can copy this. There are many other things you can add to this, but I found this to be a very helpful exercise across companies. Now, if you go back to the original slide, the next slide shows what potential outputs could be, right? So you do this analysis, you come back. We used to at Medallia rate the companies on what do we think the customers' willingness to buy is. Will they buy? Do they have the budget? So we ask a lot of these questions at the end of that interview to the customer, and then we assess them. Do they think that they will buy, and how much of a fit are they to our product? The same thing can be done from a pricing perspective as well. And then you would plot then and see, okay, is our hypothesis matching? Is the results matching what our hypothesis was? You could do the outputs of the top right feature. You can do a frequency distribution on the features. You can do a frequency distribution on the benefits, right? What was the top rated benefit? Was the top rated feature? Now that should ideally match your differentiator. That should ideally match the offering, what you thought is the most important part of the offering. And that goes back to the question we had earlier about value, right? It should match what you think is where you were delivering value. And you may, conversely, there would be things that you think deliver value. And more often this would be the case, that where you think you are delivering value, many things customers would not even think about, right? So companies have the bias of thinking that everything that they do is valuable, but customers don't think that way.